Welcome to the Inner Huddle Extra Time.
Hello and welcome along to another edition of the Inner Huddle Extra Time. I'm Pez and I'm going to bring you another chapter from my book, Did You Win, Did You Score? How to Help Your Child Succeed at Football and Life by Perry Cocking. That's me. And this week, the title of the chapter is Get Your Child Involved with Futsal. Not one of my classic titles, but straight to the point. And there's no hiding from what the intention of the chapter is and the importance that I place on the great sport of futsal. For those of you who don't know, futsal's a universally accepted version of indoor football as being the best version, really the only version now. And the opening two paragraphs of this chapter are: if it wasn't for futsal, I would definitely not be the player I am today. That's from Cristiano Ronaldo. And then there's another quote: futsal, was great fun and helped me become the player I am today. And that is from Messi. So arguably, and quite possibly, maybe even probably, the two greatest footballers ever to have graced the game. Both have played futsal and have both cited it as a reason why they became the players that they did. Why anyone would need any more, I should be able to stop it right there. And that should be enough. Obviously Pele played it, Ronaldinho. I think there's footage of Zidane playing it, even Modric and people like that I've seen recently. So all these great players from over the years, and arguably the two greatest players of all time, certainly of our current generation, came from the game. But in case that's not enough, I have written a little bit about it, so I will crack straight on with the content. In adult football, the higher the standard, the quicker the game becomes. Many players who are comfortable in one league or in the under-23s get quite a shock when they experience playing a higher standard at first team level for the first time. So it's not necessarily just the quality of content that's in a training session, but the speed it can be carried out at. Technically, the better the players are, the tempo of the practices carried out will be quicker. This leads to more affordances for action, in brackets decisions, quicker thinking, in brackets perception action coupling, and variability. Players therefore need to process information and adapt quickly. The high tempo games also stretch players technically, honing and improving throughout. This is where it's vital that players develop good technical skills, as without good technique, then playing and practicing at a high level is impossible. If a player hasn't got good technique, they will eventually reach a ceiling and get left behind. This is where playing futsal can be a complete game changer. Futsal is an indoor five-a-side game played with a smaller, slightly weighted ball. It is very popular in South America, Spain and Portugal, and is being quoted by players such as Messi, Ronaldo and Neymar as one of the reasons they became such great players. For children to develop, putting players into decision-rich environments such as small-sided games and futsal is vital. The smaller spaces mean that children have to think quicker, make better decisions and develop better techniques. It's not just the technical aspects of football that improve drastically. Decision-rich environments like futsal with high volumes of opportunities, affordances for action, develop anticipation levels in players where it can seem like they have some sort of sixth sense. Players develop high levels of deception to counter anticipation, as deception is anticipation's antivenom. See chapter 48 for the importance of being difficult to read. When they return to football, players that regularly play futsal feel like they have more time on the ball and their decision making improves tenfold. It is often wrongly thought to be a game of fancy skills, but, in fact, is a game that naturally teaches the basic fundamentals of football to a very high level, and all players benefit from the game. I've encountered a lot of parents and coaches who are scared of the game, as it can highlight a lot of weaknesses in individuals. For example, on a big grass pitch, a player might get away with a poor first touch or a lack of basic control. They might get away being lazy or being completely one-footed. In futsal, these things are highlighted quickly, which can lead to parents and coaches dismissing the game as they like to think that their child is better than that, so it must be the game that is rubbish. Those who embrace it, I promise you, when done properly, will accelerate their development massively and will push on a lot quicker to fulfilling their potential. I honestly believe there isn't a better, easier and more simple way to help your child be the best footballer they can be than getting them to play futsal. It is an accelerated learning environment with more touches, decisions, tackles, shots and match situations played at a very high pace. The FA has become aware that futsal is a fantastic youth coaching development tool. I'm delighted as I've been preaching about it for over 20 years and hopefully now local grassroots clubs will embrace it as part of their coaching programme. However, just a word of warning, although I believe it's the easiest way to help children develop futsal, on its own, it is not the answer. On its own, it is not a magic formula. It has to be part of a well thought out individual technical development programme for children to fulfil their potential. Without a learning environment where children can try things, express themselves and be creative, futsal will not be the accelerated learning environment it should be. It's a culture, a learning environment, and not just a game of five-a-side with a smaller, heavier ball. Futsal on its own is not the answer. My worry is that the FA and grassroots clubs sometimes simply use futsal to tick off their technical development box and think it's enough. It's not. It's definitely a step in the right direction as long as it is used properly, but a long way off from being a magic formula everyone is looking for. Used correctly, it is a confidence-building tool as well as increasing match situations, 1v1s and decision-making variables. However, if the coach taking the session is the same coach that shouts instructions constantly during their other conventional sessions and matches, then it's not being used properly. As the sport becomes more popular, then please embrace and enjoy it, but don't be naive enough to think that on its own there will suddenly be an abundance of technically gifted players to rival those we admire so much from other countries. What I mean is, if the coach is someone who usually shouts at their players for trying skills or for giving the ball away, then futsal isn't going to work well. A fixed mindset one day and a growth mindset the next will be very confusing for the children. So, if your child's club suddenly starts playing futsal, then it might be best to check if it's been done properly or just being used as a tick in the box and no more than a bit of indoor practice. I would strongly recommend researching if there are any specialist futsal clubs in your area and enrolling your child there. Trust me, you won't regret it. Cool. Quite a big statement and quite a lot in there. And for anyone local to Salisbury and Andover, Winchester, Southampton area, Wessex Futsal Club, obviously my partner in crime, Jeff, he runs Wessex Futsal Club and I couldn't recommend it highly enough, either him personally or the club. But maybe don't tell him I said that because, I don't know, I don't want to give him too big a head. But he's not like that, to be fair, Jeff. He's a great guy and Mr. Futsal. And again, don't tell him I said this, but I think he should be in and around the England setup in some capacity in the future. But there we go. It's not an advert for Jeff. More serious than that is I feel that so much good and so much development opportunities can be found with futsal. I think every club should play it, even if it's just playing it during the winter months when they can't train outdoors. Rather than trying to do football training indoors, just come indoors and play futsal. There's quite a different turn of the tone within that somewhere, and I think that was where it had been written over a period of time. And I start off by saying how good futsal is and the benefits, and then I kind of start attacking people that are doing it wrong. And I think that was born with frustration that when the FA started pushing it out there, a lot of teams started doing it, but they weren't even using a futsal ball. They were using a football indoors, and they weren't doing 5-a-side, they were doing 6 or 7-a-side. And they were still shouting at players for trying things and giving it away. And this isn't futsal. You're not using it as a development tool. So if you're going to do it, go to a club that's a futsal club, or try to, if you're a coach, embrace doing it properly and maybe getting some advice from the likes of Jeff or your local futsal club, because it's very, very important. And if you're a coach or a manager, trust me, you get your team training futsal, small areas, lots of decision making to be done. Their touch will improve, their decisions will improve. They'll have to learn to play with their heads up. They'll have to learn to receive the ball in different areas whilst being marked or on their weaker side, and learning how to deal with it. And it's being thrown in there and learning how to adapt to those situations that will accelerate their learning, as I've said here, nick the expression again, tenfold. And you will not regret it, trust me. But you have to do it right. 5-a-side, or 3v3s going across, or 4v4s. Well, there's plenty of variations of the game. I mean, I run Pezza Street Soccer, which is futsal based, but still various different forms of it. 1v1s, 2v2s, using a futsal ball, maximising your time for each player to have contact time with the ball, along with sort of random decisions that they have to make. So that's one for the coaches there. If you're a parent, all you have to be worried about is there a futsal club in my area? Can I get them along? Or is there an individual training centre that uses futsal? And yeah, like I say, all you have to do is make inquiries, ask some questions, and get them along. And trust me, you will not regret it. Again, please do like, share, forward this podcast on to friends. It really does help get it out there. As I said in the last episode, don't get anything from doing these. I just put it out there because I'm passionate about it. Okay, a few people might buy the book, which is great, but I'm basically putting a lot of the book out for free, which is where these episodes are great, because I can give the chapters and then give a little bit of thought behind those chapters. The book by me, Perry Cocking, Did You Win, Did You Score? How to Help Your Child Succeed at Football in Life, is available on Amazon. So yes, I am going to push it out there. I make a couple of quid a book. I'd have to sell an absolute mountain of them to actually make any money on it, but I just feel that it can change people's lives and make the youth football journey for parents, and certainly the children, much more enjoyable, much safer. And when I say safer, in terms of psychological damage that might be done through a sport, and just help you on that journey to helping children fulfill their potential, whatever that might be. The next episode will be very careful what you put on social media. So look out for that one. That might be an interesting one for many of us, and I have been caught in this trap myself. So look out for that one. Please consider buying the book. I think it will change your life and your child's life, and if you're a coach, your players' lives, and will make you think a little bit more. And that's all the book's designed to do, is make you think. You might look at futsal and go, actually, futsal's not for me. I know nothing about it. We've not always played futsal in this country, and we produce some great players. My counter argument to that would be your Paul Gascoignes and people like that. They played in the street, which is kind of a variation of futsal at small-sided games. It's tight areas. It's receiving the ball under pressure while you're being marked. It's quick thinking. It's trying to develop a bit of skill and disguise and a good first touch. So I think it encompasses that as well. So really, really, really important. But the book, designed to show you the possibilities that are out there, things that you might improve on, things that you haven't thought of that you could do, and things that you might be doing which is possibly, not definitely, but possibly having a harm and impacting negatively on your own child or group of children if you're a coach. But as I've said, you know your kid best. If you're a coach, you know your children best. But be aware, and that's what I hope this podcast and this book does do, will do, can do. And I will wrap this one up. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. Look out for the next one coming soon. And never forget, football isn't that important, but children are. And I'll see you next time.